Hey guys, and welcome to Monifactory Progression Log 15 at this point. Um, the last week has been, I don't think, as productive as the week before. So we'll have to see how long this log is. I doubt it's going to be longer than the last one. I have been taking some more breaks. I can tell that I'm really ready to be done with Monifactory. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun, and I will continue to have fun. But it has been there's been a lot of time. It is 23.68 days, which is about the same amount of time as it took to finish all the mods 9. Sorry, I got my tea again. And all the mods 9 took around 24 days, maybe a little bit over than that. So we're kind of closing in on that time. I know Cosmic's put in like a total of like 160 hours at this stage. So between our combined hours, we definitely have more than all the mods 9, which was as expected, honestly. I expect to be here for at least another few hundred, maybe another 100 at least, I imagine. Between the two of us, for sure. Maybe between the two of us, another 250. We'll have to see. At the very beginning of of playing Monifactory. I estimated that we'd be here for around 1,000 combined hours, and we're still on track for that, I think. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing to talk about over here is the generators. We added more of them. We went from one tower to three, and the other thing is we recently got UEV rotor holders. And UEV rotor holders turned this from 2 amps of ZPM to 1 amp of UHV. So neutronium UEV rotor holders with neutronium rotors made this produce a lot more power. So before they produced like 180,000 EU a tick, and now they produce just over 2 million. Yeah, this kind of solved our power problems. We didn't really have too many power problems before either. It wasn't like a real concern we were having. It was more of a what are we gonna do from here in terms of more power later on. And originally we were thinking about the large Naquadah reactors, and the large Naquadah reactors produce, just over 1 amp or around 1 amp UIV. However, they're fucking massive. We don't really have that much space for them. Like if we tore out, excuse me, if we tore out all the other generators, we might be able to get, I don't know, 4 if we get lucky on like wall sharing and stuff. Maybe, I don't know, at least 2. Probably no more than 2, most likely. Which would only be 2 amps UIV, and I know I just said only 2 amps UIV, but that's only 64 million EU a tick. And combined with each one of these towers, um, and of course the NAC reactors, we produce a grand total of 309 million EU a tick. So at this stage, we're fine for power, and if we do actually, for some godforsaken reason, need more power, we'll strip out the regular NAC reactors and we'll put more turbines in their place. As obviously the upside of these Naquadah reactors is that they don't have a spin-up time; they just go from 0 to 100 instantly. However, that 0 to 100 is 0 to 3 amps ZPM, which just isn't good enough at this stage. So those will, if necessary, we can pull those out. I don't really expect us to have to do that at this stage, as we do have, a very large battery. We have the largest. We actually a couple of days ago, I made the ultimate battery, which is the UHV battery, the UHV capacitor. And this takes an ultimate battery, which was kind of expensive. Though in the grand scheme of things, for what we can do at this stage, it's not too bad. It's mostly just very time consuming in terms of the amount of stuff it takes and how many like nested crafts it has to do. Um, so yeah, we have obviously effectively infinite storage. It'll take, with our massive power production and our relatively low power consumption, it's still gonna take 51 real life years to fill this battery. Um, which is actually kind of why, even though these they do have the redstone, like P2P tunnels on them and stuff, like we could control them via redstone. There's not really a point in setting it up, as in they'll never actually get turned on until I die of old age. So, like I die of old age, and then they'd probably all turn or turn off, I guess. So, It's not really a concern. All right. Moving forward, there hasn't been too many changes over here. I think I've added a few more mob drops here and there. Over here, I don't think there's been. I don't know if all of these autoclaves were here last week. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was still like we had PVC and polyethylene ingots and stuff over here. I stripped them all out because we didn't need those things anymore, and I moved the cutter and the forge hammer away for the crystals. And instead of been putting autoclaves here, this feels like a good enough spot to put them. And I have room for one more. We have pulsating crystals, vibrant crystals. I do Lapotron crystals here as well. We do raw carbon fibers, and as always, we do the raw crystal chips. I'm not exactly sure we need raw carbon fibers for much anymore. No, wait, I do actually. We do need them for something. We need them for in the chemical reactor. Yes, for the nano CPU wafers. I don't think we need them for anything else. Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing we need them for at this stage, because reinforced epoxy resin sheets can actually be made from liquid epoxy, liquid reinforced epoxy, and we have this tanked. So the only thing this is used for is for making the nano wafers. In terms of anything over here, nothing else has changed. I do plan to put something else over here. I plan to put gravity stars here on passive. Gravity stars are made in an autoclave, and they're kind of slow. We were doing them at ZPM, or I think we still are doing them at ZPM. I haven't moved them away. 6 seconds isn't too bad, so we don't really use that too many of them, so it'll be fine for a while. But eventually, I do just want to move it to an autoclave, just so it's that's because I kind of want to put it on an autoclave. That being said, though, since it is kind of fine, I might wait to see if there's something else that's more important that we have to put on a passive autoclave, so I can fit it there. Over here hasn't really seen too many changes other than, adding some more machines and stuff here and there. Factory floor 2, I did pull some stuff out. I pulled out all not the neutron stars, sorry, the quantum stars, as well as the quantum eyes. I set up a multi-block passive chemical bath, and I'll show that in a minute. Over here, I also put a bunch of other actinium and terbium components on passive, as we are making UHV electric motors on passive now, which was expensive, let me tell you. I understand why, requesters are so great, but I really wanted to put it on passive because I thought it would be fun. And it was fun, but it's expensive. Oh man, very good stuff. Alright, so we're kind of done over here. We're actually going to start with a microverse projector, though. And we do have the hyperbolic now. However, there was... I misunderstood something, fundamentally misunderstood something about how the hyperbolic microverse projector works. I thought it would just do every recipe, and it would be like more or less like a different circuit number, despite the fact that it doesn't actually do that. You have to actually select which machine you want it to be. So we can't use this to replace all of the other microverse projectors in the base. In terms of we can rip all of them out and we only need one. I mean, obviously we could replace, our advanced 2s with another, hyperbolic here. But why? I could just use advanced 2 instead of having to build the hyperbolic again. Yeah, so I was really I was very disappointed that I couldn't rip all the other microverse projectors out. So I've kind of had to cram them in some places. Oh, that's very good stuff. So over here, I saw some minor changes as well, actually, before we go ahead and talk about more of the microverse projectors while we're over here. We're making prescient crystals passively through multi-block. One of the problems we were having with putting a bunch of those microminers on passive was just how fucking slow it was to make prescient crystals. We just had a single soul binder, and that soul binder was not fast. It was very, very slow. So I had to build what's this? The quintessence infuser, which is the multi-block version of it, and this is super scuffed. How I just kind of crammed it in here, but I just really wanted to get it to fit. I just really wanted to put it down so I could go do something else, and oh yeah, it's whatever. It doesn't look that bad. But yeah, this does prescient crystals. It's basically it's just a multi-block parallelizer for the soul binder. So it just makes this stuff super fast. Yeah, it's great. And over here we have a large solidification array for tubes, or well, balls. This is specifically for stabilized hydrogen. as stabilized. So we obviously have tank, right? And in the passive array, we have a single IV fluid solidifier that does hydrogen. It's somewhere over here, I believe. Yeah, here it is, right? However, this is really fucking slow. And you need a lot of solidified hydrogen to do a lot of the higher tier microminer missions, especially the ones we need to do a lot of with dense hydrogen. Ultra dense hydrogen is used in making stellar creation data. Okay, so it's used in making stellar creation data. That's what it's used for. And stellar creation data is used all over the place. However, one ultra dense hydrogen is 9 dense hydrogen, which is 9 solidified hydrogen. So it's 81 solidified hydrogen for a single dense hydrogen, or it's for a single ultra dense, and it took 4 stacks to make a. It's more or less a 1-to-1, right? So you need a lot of that stuff. And this was too damn slow. So I just had to throw down a parallelizer version of it. That's not where we are. Over here. I just threw down a parallelized version of it, which is the large solidification array, which does 256 recipes at UV, so it does like 256 of them in like 1 tick or something like that. And this fixed our problem. So we don't have to worry about solidified hydrogen anymore. Yeah, moving on to, I guess we'll go talk about what the other microverses are. You guys kind of hinted that. I put down the other microverse projector 2 in here. I didn't really have anywhere else I could have put it because it's so fucking large. And I am just going to leave this microverse projector here. I don't know what I'm going to do with the other one that's already in the other microverse projector room. Probably nothing. I'm going to be honest. Anyway, so down over here we have some more stuff level limited. I actually got around to level limiting Heart of the Universe. We have that on level limit now. We have 12. So we keep from 3 to 10, and that way we can actually put passive. We can put bools on passive. Universe doped microcrystalline silicon bools on passive. I haven't done that yet, as we need stabilized Ogdensen. Whatever this stuff is. You can only get this from a microminer mission, and I haven't set up UHV electric pumps on passive yet. I was going to do that last night, and then I was going to set up microverse bools on passive last night, and then it's like 2:30 in the morning, and then I realized I have to go do passive UHV pumps, and I just log off and go to bed, and I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. So it'll probably get done later today or tomorrow, I imagine. But yeah, after we get that done, we then have the best bulls on passive, which will be fun, and we'll be able to start. I don't know if there's anything else we'll really need to put on passive. Well, I guess the infinity catalysts and stuff. But there's better ways to make hearts of the universe. There's a more advanced one with the microverse. This one takes infinity catalysts, which we don't have yet. We can actually make these now. Let's see. So we can use them. It does consume them, I believe. Yeah, it does. So it takes 8 Heart of the Universes, because it takes 1 for each of this to make 16. So it's you get twice as much, but you do have to do a bunch of this other crap, which seems like is going to be annoying. Just some more requester recipes. But yeah, so we've got some stuff like that. This whole week has more or less I guess the running theme of this week was mostly focusing on trying to get the hyperbolic microverse projector, and putting endgame microminers on passive, or level limit, I should say, which I guess is passive. Getting them to be. Obviously, we have requesters, and because they can be crafted by the system on demand, we don't actually need to put a bunch of this stuff on passive. But I'm putting it on passive because I want to, because I think it's fun. And so, we've been putting a bunch of those things on passive and level limit, and then getting to the hyperbolic one as well. We got some more ones over here. There's not too many over here. I think we have this one. This one makes the shattered. Here, take a look. This one makes corrupted universe data, which you need for the better Hadal shard recipe. There's two ways to make Hadal shards with the Microverse Projector 2, and this gives you just 4 shards. But if you use the Hyperbolic with its special recipe, you get a stack, as well as a stack of Warden Hearts. So we're doing this recipe now. For a while we were doing this one because we straight up couldn't afford to start this one because this requires an Eternium plated micro Sun Eater, and this requires just a whole bunch of other crap. So we had to run a bunch of the shitty ones before we could get the good one, and now that we have the good one, we'll be good on that. So over here, this one makes stellar creation data, and it's the better recipe. You can get it with the T1, the T2, so you can get 1 for 1 mission with the T1, 4 for 1 mission with the T2, or you can use the tier 4 and you can get 4 stacks at once. It does require the UHV sensors and the data models, or the data modules, but in the end of the day, it's not that bad. And I might put these on passive as well, since we did put UHV electric motors on passive, and all these other things are kind of okay. We already have basically all of these other things on passive. I think I might have to put Neutronium frames on passive, but other than that, it's pretty much done. Yeah, and then over down here, we have Hadal shards and we have Warden Hearts, because this recipe gives us 2 things. It gives us, here, like you saw before, it gave us both Warden Hearts and Hadal shards. Well, I want to make sure if either of those things are too low, it'll turn the other one on. So there's 2 level limiters on it. I am not happy why it's a bunch of this stuff is already in here. There has been some. I've noticed that the setup I have for the stocking buses have been a little less stable sometimes. Sometimes they leave inventory. They don't consume everything in one go, and sometimes there's some stuff left in the interface. That being said, though, I've thought about it, and I don't really think it's a problem, because if it turned off, then that means there's enough, and if it's not pulling from it, it means it can't complete a recipe. So when it turns on again, it only has to pull fewer items from the main net. So for a while, I was like clearing them out whenever I saw them, and then I started thinking about it. I was like, it doesn't matter. It'll work when it needs to, and if it doesn't need to, it won't work. So, and the way it's all set up is they don't actually interfere with each other's recipes, so it doesn't matter. If maybe there's another thing it wants to pull dilithium, I might pull dilithium for here or something, but then who cares? It'll just pull it from elsewhere where it needs. Anyway, so getting this done was a lot of fun, and I was very disappointed to see that it couldn't replace all of our other microverse projectors. In retrospect, I really should have expected that, because when you look at the hyperbolic microverse projector, instead of giving you like the same hyperbolic tab with like a bunch of circuit numbers, or special like items to do those other recipes, it gives you 4 tabs, because it can act as those machines effectively, not that it can do everything as one machine. So that was a little bit of a minor hiccup in my plans, but in the end, we adapted, and it's fine now. It works great. So this was a lot of fun. I can't believe we finally got this. This thing is expensive. UHV emitters and UV field generators and all this other crazy stuff. It was really interesting because I remember looking at this like months ago. I guess we built a bridge. We built this a couple days ago. I'll get back to rambling on the other topic, but now that you guys saw the edge of it, I kind of wanted to show you guys. Yes, we built a bridge. It's an it's an arch bridge. It's kind of based on some stuff that goes over the Colorado River, I think. I googled some bridges that go over the Colorado River, and this was one of the bridges that popped up. We also were so rich that we used conductive iron wire as part of the structure, and this is polyethylene PTFE frames with just more wire factory blocks. And I really love it. It looks great. Cosmic helped a bunch with it as well. And if we fall back a little bit over here, we could take a look at the silhouette. And the silhouette looks amazing. I love it. We haven't done it for the other bridges yet because it did take like a couple of hours, I'm not going to lie. And it's a lot of work. So eventually we'll do it for the other bridges, but we were just doing this while I was waiting for something to craft. Oh, Omnic coils. We were waiting on Omnic coils to craft before we could do anything else. So we just started like, you know what, fuck it. We planned this support out for the bridge, like legitimately, like months ago. and we still hadn't gotten around to doing it. So we finally got around to doing it, and I think it looks great. It's awesome. I love the conductive iron here, kind of how it matches with the terracotta. It looks really good. I love the frame and stuff, and how we kind of anchored it with like basalt and stuff down back here. It looks really great. All right, and so we were looking at like the micro. I remember looking at the recipe for the hyperbolic microverse projector months ago, like when we first set up the microverses, and it was like, oh my god, when are we ever gonna get that? Like, CorrectTech is very, very good at making you look up the mountain of like that is like the voltage tiers and stuff, and all the crazy shit that you have to do, and go, oh my god, am I ever actually gonna get any of that done? And yeah, we did it. We got it done. It's a lot of fun. And if you're like wondering how we did it, how we managed to, if you're like sitting here and watching these logs and go, oh man, I could never do that, or oh my god, how do they do that, how do me and my friends, how do we fucking do this? And the answer is, don't focus on like the super. I'm gonna give you sort of two conflicting pieces of advice. One, you need to set yourself a long-term goal. Like, what do you want to do for the pack? Like, what is your end state? When you have considered you're done with the pack, what does that mean? Like, do you want to get a certain item? Do you want to build a base? Do you want to, like, have a certain number of resources or whatever? I don't know. It's whatever you decide the end point of a pack. You need to set that, and that'll be your guiding star, the reason why you do stuff. So when you are lost and you don't know what to do at the moment, you can go, okay, well, here's my long-term goal. I want quantum chest, right? So it's like, okay, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I want a quantum chest. So I'll just go ahead and pull up the recipe and quantum. Let's see, creative quantum chest. Oh, that's very expensive. Okay, let's pick something and let's run down a tree. Okay, let's see. UIV robot arms. We'll need else for that. Holmium, UIV pistons and stuff. Okay, and now I have something I can do. I can go work on else. I can go work on holmium. I can go run down the UIV electric stuff, which is more holmium and stuff. So that'll give me. So you need like a guiding star, a reason for why you're playing the pack. Beyond, obviously you're playing the pack for fun, but obviously you need like a goal to help drive you towards something. And then the other thing is to not worry about the stuff that's super, super far ahead of you. Like, I got here because in HV I wasn't worrying about UV, and I wasn't worrying about UHV. When I was in HV, I was worrying about HV, EV, and then looking a little bit ahead to like IV maybe. You know, so I'm not really like looking for those ultra high end tiers because like I'm not worrying about planning my base out for those at that time. Uh, Mostly because when you get to those high voltage tiers, you often get new tools and new multi blocks to the point where you can't really effectively plan out your base. At least for me, I can't really like at an HV tier. You can't really plan your base for UHV because there's so many different things you have to do. You need power generation and resource generation and new multi blocks and new chem. You just need so much stuff that attempting to plan that far ahead in advance is a way to give yourself decision paralysis. You're like, okay, well, and obviously like that's like 100 from HV. That's straight up hundreds of hours of gameplay. Unless you're like an actual like you get a precog or something like that, you can't really look that far ahead. Maybe some people can, but I can't. So I'd never really worried about like what I was gonna do 300 hours later or 10 voltage tiers later or whatever. It was always about what do I need to do now in the near future and in the future, and it's not in like the distant future or anything like that, right? I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's a little bit helpful. And coming over here to activate netherite, as you guys will notice, there's a very large multi-block here. This is a rotary hearth furnace. I never actually got to build any of these in ATM 9 as they were gated more or less past Direct Star. Like, we probably could have pushed for an RHF at some point, but the tier when you more or less get access to the RHF in ATM 9, you're more or less to Gregstar already, and there wasn't really any need for us. We didn't really need an RHF so badly that I wanted to add more time onto that playthrough. But now we actually do need it. There was some down over here for activated netherite. We did actually have a few bottlenecks, and it was inert netherite scrap was one of them. That was a pretty significant bottleneck. So getting the RHF here was very helpful. I don't know what the bottleneck now is. It's been running for quite some time. We do have a lot of activated netherite. We have 41,000 ingots, which is great. So yeah, this works. Oh, let me actually see if I can unmute this. This makes a really weird noise. No, it makes like the weird science noise. Have you guys ever heard that? Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why. Anyway, so we added the RHF over here, and that was pretty much it. But we yeah, I really liked how the way it looks, how we like stacked it up and stuff. Cosmic did this expansion. And we actually built another one over here. One of the other bottlenecks we had for our activated netherite was actually dark solarium. That is exceedingly slow, even done in like UV with omnium coils. It was like 4 seconds an ingot, and it was very slow. And I left this EBF here because I didn't really feel like pulling it out. But this rotary hearth furnace is running at UHV with 256, and right now all it does is all it does is dark solarium, and it keeps ingots between 1,000 and 10,000, and it works. It's great. It's fantastic. I may eventually rip out the other block of EBFs and then just build another RHF here, and then just have 2 of them. As you guys notice, I had to replan the floor a little bit. I had to pull out the pathway in the middle. There we go. But I don't know if we're actually really gonna need another one. I can just move. I'm gonna put more and more things on the RHF rather than on individual EBF blocks, I think. But I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this was cool. Very big. Very cool. We haven't built the bulk blast chiller yet. I don't know if we're gonna need to do at this point since we don't really have that many hot ingots at this stage. But I'm happy to have finally built like an RHF. I know I was looking forward to trying to see if we could build one on ATM9, and it just never really happened. Which was kind of disappointing, but that's the way ATM9 went. By the end of that pack, I was very much ready to move on and go do something else. I was actually really excited to go play Monifactory actually, but I really was just kind of excited to go do anything else. And it's kind of getting to that stage too in Monifactory. I recently installed Dyson Sphere program again and played a couple hours of that a couple days ago because I wanted some conveyor belt automation. I've kind of like thought about it. There's like 2 kinds of automation. Like so you obviously have your conveyor belt automation, right? That's like your Factorio and your Dyson Sphere program and your Satisfactory. You have to draw conveyor belts between all your machines and stuff. And modded Minecraft is different. It is like network automation, right? You don't have like conveyor belt lines between huge lines of machines and stuff. Everything is networked together with digital storage. So yeah, I really enjoy it. I obviously really enjoy Monifactory. I wouldn't have sunk almost 560 hours at this stage into it. And I'm gonna keep playing because I really do want Quantum Chest. It's been a lot of fun, and I really want to get that. It's been on a very long road. But once it's done, I will be excited. I will be happy to be done. I'm ready to be done. But we're not there yet. So once we're done, then I'll be done. But not until then. All right. So that over there, we talked about that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to mention. Oh, I guess we can come over here to the assembly lines. I added a few more things. I know I mentioned them a few minutes ago. Okay, not a few minutes ago, like 20 at this point. But I have some more things on passive over here. We've had ultimate material on passive for a while. I think like a week and a half at this stage. I just never brought it up. I think I forgot to bring it up. But yeah, we have this on passive. I know you need a bunch of this stuff for a lot of like the end game things. And I know I've seen in the Monifactory Discord someone dumping 2 UIV amps into an assembler to do them on demand faster because it's slow. And it is kind of slow. It's 30 seconds at UV. I personally just think people should put more things on passive through assembly lines. They're not that bad to do passively. Anyway, so we also have warp engines on passive and UHV electric motors on passive. Eventually, I plan to put on UHV pumps on passive. Maybe UHV sensors, but I haven't decided yet. There's only a few more slots over here for more passive assembly lines, but like I mentioned last time I talked about this area, I can just extend this out and add more lines. Also, one funny thing is this is like, a 17 length assembler, which is longer than any recipe in the game, mostly just so it fits in the standardized pad. However, ultimate material is only 4 items long. So this is actually more than 4 times the length it needs to be. I just thought that was really funny. But they're all standardized lengths, so it doesn't matter. I don't need to I didn't need to plan out what kind of recipes I was going to put in here. When I planned out like the assembly line area, I knew that it would be long enough for any recipe in the game. And I think if you do have to plan really far ahead in the future, you can do stuff like that. You can look at like what is, especially for assembly lines, it's very easy. You can go, what's the longest possible recipe in the game? 16 items, 4 fluids. So that means you need at most a 16 length assembly line, right? So if you even if you're at HV and you want to plan out your assembly line area, you can do that. There are some things like that you can do. Not everything, but some things you can. But yeah, so more things on passive. Oh, I'm. Oh wait. I have like a medallion somewhere that is supposed to stop them from spawning, and it does, sometimes it doesn't work. um, this whole setup though wasn't actually too hard to set up, or this whole passive assembly line wasn't too bad. Because you can't have junctions of optical cables, we just have a chained one over here. So we have one to that one, and that one doesn't actually have any. This one doesn't actually have any data sticks in it. It's basically just used as a way to have that one split off to all these other ones because there's not really that many more spaces for data cables here. If I want to add more, I'm gonna have to add like another transmission hatch and then have like another data bank down there to split more off of so I can chain the data through. But that wouldn't be too bad at all. Or, I mean, worst case scenario, I just do more research and have like another one of these things and set that all up. It would be, I guess, kind of expensive, but at this stage, it's not really. I mean, if you didn't have tank, I think it would be rough, but we have tank. So, I'm trying to think. I guess we can go talk about the, actually, right, chemical baths over here. I added, we had the passive chemical bath over here, and this does just a couple of things. There's not too many things you actually need to do passively in a chemical bath. We have quantum stars, obviously, quantum eyes. You do flux dust here, as well as eyes of ender, actually. So before you can craft we were crafting eyes of ender with just, the regular crafting recipe. However, with the new chemical bath making quantum eyes like super duper ultra fast, it actually wasn't keeping up. So because we can do eyes of ender in the chemical bath with liquid blaze, this just comes from extracting some blaze rods or blaze powder. And once again, we have tank, so it basically made them free. So we just do them this way with chemical bath, and it works. It's super fast. I also put a 64 hatch on this one. Most of these things here actually have just 16 parallels hatches because I didn't really feel like crafting more of the higher tier ones when I was setting them all up. But I might start putting them into the 64 tiers and start feeding them a lot more items. Cosmic also rectified my horrible mistake and made this entire thing vertical. I'm sure this took hours and was horrible and annoying. Thank you, Cosmic. The endless AE shaft. I had built this horizontally before, and we needed more room. Like, I wanted to put a chemical bath in here, and one reason why I hadn't was because the wire packer set array, storage bus interface array had taken up the entire underground, the portion underneath the entire machine pad it was on. So I didn't have anywhere to put more machines on if I wanted to do more multi-block passives. And that was kind of stopping us from doing a multi-block chemical bath. So I went pretty please to Cosmic, and she went okay, and then she went and did it. So thank you, Cosmic. I'm very glad I didn't have to do it. I'm sure that was a painstaking and took hours. But yeah, it's done. So we had room over here to do the chemical bath, and the chemical bath won't have any more than 4 recipes. There's legitimately nothing else. We could do like, if we want, we could do like passive dyeing in the chemical bath over here. Like, we don't need to make reinforced epoxy resin sheets because we have that on tank. We don't need to do this like papered. We don't care about a bunch. Most of these recipes are actually cooling ingots. We don't need any of this porous matrix stuff either because that's from crystal matrix line, which we've tanked. We're doing this one on. We have this one up. That was like, processing tungstate, which we do also in ore processing. Saturated inert clumps will be done in else line, not here. We're doing flux dust here. We don't need treated wood planks. Don't need paper again. We're doing quantum stars here. We're doing quantum eyes here. And that's pretty much it. So there's not very many recipes that need to go in here. One of the reasons why we did it over here is just because the parallel hatch and because it's super duper ultra fast. That's pretty good. I also got around to adding another assembler over here, and on this assembler I added the various tiers of like the Hadal energy cores. So you have the Mezzle, the Bathel, the Abyssal, and the Hadal. And you use these things in a lot of things, and they're done in the assembler. And I thought, well, why not do them, on passive? Skulk cores are still done via the requester, as I am not interested in attempting to set up a passive Skulk biocharger. I don't even know where I would put this. I'd have to build a new area specifically for this, and I just don't really want to. So we're just using the requester for that. I'm not really a huge fan of having a crutch on requesters because they are a crutch, but I think in moderation it's fine. For stuff like this, it's alright. We also use it for the subatomic digital assembler, as you use it to make shattered star data as well. Shattered star data comes from this, so we use this as a requester as well, because I'm definitely not building a second one of those. I guess I could always attempt to just have them level limit. There's plenty of space underneath the bus. Maybe I'll go do that then. Maybe I'll actually just set up like a little, off in the corner on the underneath of whatever. We go off to where on demand is. Plasma turbine noises. Like if we come out over here or whatever, and there's plenty of room. I could probably set up a tiny little level limit underneath here if I really felt like it. And maybe I'll do that just so I feel better about it. But also it would effectively be the same thing I think at this stage, and I have lots of other things I have to do, so maybe not. That's another big thing of GregTech, is learning how to best use your time. As in, since this is a game and we always think that time is an unlimited resource because we're here having fun. The answer to that is not really. Time, obviously, time is limited. Time is money, right? Well, time is Greg, I guess. But anyway, it takes a lot of time to do anything in Greg. It's a very grindy, very iterative, very slow pack. And you don't really want to spend your time on things that you don't really absolutely have to. Sometimes you just want to do stuff, and that's okay too. And however, your time is yours to spend. But sometimes you really have to prioritize on what you actually need to do. And sometimes like something is just not worth putting time into it because it's good enough. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good, right? Sometimes like we always want to optimize the fuck out of systems. We want to build the best possible system we can. And the problem is sometimes, especially with GregTech, you literally cannot build the best possible system you can. You oftentimes in GregTech you're relegated to building good enough for now, or as good as I can do for now. GregTech bases are in a constant state of flux and in a constant state of upgrade, especially if you're starting from from the lower tiers. As you go up, that's one of the big things about why you don't really need to plan for UHV and UV, because often many of the things you have to do now are either completely negated in the future, or they're made cheaper in the future, or they're done entirely differently in the future. You see a big thing with that with circuit progression, right? Okay, my game's gonna freeze for a moment. Oh, hold on. Now my game's gonna freeze for a moment. Opening the quest book always causes my game to stutter for a little bit. You can see this the most in circuit progression. All right. If we go to the circuit progression, like you have all these different tiers of circuits, right? And like when you're very first starting out, we always kind of want to do the best. And the best LV circuit, for example, requires an EV circuit assembler, so you literally can't even do the better recipes, or even like even the better chips you can't do because those require wafers and stuff. So GregTech is often a constant struggle between This needs to be good enough for future proofing, where it needs to be good enough for a while. But I don't want to spend 4,000 hours on something that it will eventually absolutely be torn up. And lots of systems have been torn up, as you guys have seen throughout like just the last couple weeks alone. We've torn out virtually every system in the base. Obviously that's because of Monifactory's tank, but even before we had tank, we were still tearing out systems on a somewhat regular basis as we got access to new and better things. Um, but yeah, let's see. I don't know if there's too much other stuff to talk about. Clean room over here is looking pretty empty. There's not too much. I don't really think there's anything we even do in here anymore. Um, all this stuff we can do passively or don't even do anymore, or I can set up an autoclave for it somewhere. Um, I guess we actually. Oh, this doesn't run anymore. We don't even have the power in there anymore. So yeah, clean room's kind of empty. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it going forward, since everything that we were doing in it, we're now doing in multi-blocks with cleaning room hatches. However, sterilizing clean room, that is not the case. Sterilizing clean room, there's no hatch for that. So if something requires a sterilizing clean room, it has to go in here. So maybe that one will get retrofitted to be another sterilizing clean room if for some reason we need more space. It's entirely possible, but I don't really see us needing that much more space here. I also replaced the forming press, the ZPM forming press in here, with a large material press at UHV with the 256 parallel hatch, as it was so slow. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Even though it's slow, it's running all the time. And 20 seconds per ingot, really it's 40 for 2, was still too slow. Even even with the server running 24/7, it was still too slow. So I renovated it, and it's much faster now. And we're actually pretty good on Skulk Bioalloy. At this stage, what is stopping us is Prussian Blue. We Prussian Blue requires rock salt, and we eat rock. The only way we get rock salt right now is by processing ore. And normally we get it from miners on Mercury. We can actually get the rock salt. We can actually get salt ore from micro miners. And that might be something. Let's see, not saltpeter ore, salt ore you can get from the micro miners. I believe you can actually get in rock salt. Can we get one of these things? No, it's just regular salt ore. So you can get like the salt ores and stuff. And if I really need to set this up, I guess we can. And this will be a source of rock salt. We can also get rock salt dust through. This is actually a very interesting thing. We can get rock salt dust through a chemical reactor with hot alkaline debrominated brine. There's a whole production line in GregTech that is not even used in Monifactory and not even touched on, and it's brine line. And I understand literally nothing about it. I don't know what it's used for. It doesn't really seem to give you anything other than you get rock salt that way. It seems like you can maybe get like bromine from this, but it's like a really horrible line. You have to like recycle it through itself a bunch of times, like acidic bromine exhaust, hot chlorinated bromine exhaust, brominated chlorine vapor, acidic bromine solution. Like I don't. Look, there you go. You can get bromine from this. This is how you get liquid bromine, I guess normally. But this is like an absolute nightmare of a spaghetti line, and we don't. The only thing you need bromine for is the stabilized form, and there's like just a micro miner mission for that. So I don't even know what the point is. Like here, bromine is only ever used to make the solidified bromine, which is only ever used in modes of Omnium, which we don't even need anymore. And you can make bromine through a micro miner. So I don't think the brine line gives you anything else. I mean, I guess it would give you chlorine, but it takes to make regular brine. Hold on, raw brine. Raw brine takes salt water, so it takes 20 buckets of salt water to make 1 bucket of raw brine. And if you electrolyze this, you'd get comparatively, you would get 1-to-1. You'd get 20 buckets of chlorine gas versus I don't even know what this would give you. Less? Something like that? And you'd require chlorine to make or whatever. So, but my point of bringing this up is hot alkaline debrominated brine combined with potassium dust would make us rock salt, and we would just throw away the hot debrominated brine. We don't give a shit about that. And I could this isn't too bad. I could, grind away a little bit for like a little bit to make this fluid and then tank it and then forget about it. Evaporation towers we can actually make, and it's not like that expensive. It's like an HV or HV tier recipe or whatever like that. And can we even make stainless evaporation casings? This is a good point actually. I never even looked at this recipe. Yeah, we can. So we can, if we really wanted to, we could do this, but I might just do a microminer mission for the salt door, just because it's easier. Um, but I don't know. So for Prussian blue, basically the whole point of this was rocks. Without rock salt, we can't make any more Prussian blue, and without Prussian blue, we can't make any more Skulk bioalloy. However, we have a lot of bioalloy. We have 24,000 ingots, which is what the drawer is stocked up to. And then we have another 53,000 animated pulp, and the bioalloy animated pulp is what gets used in making the Skulk bioalloy blocks. The Skulk bioalloy blocks are also made via requesters. We keep a stack of blocks in the system. And we also use the Abyssal Energy cores for this. This is part of the reasons why I put them on passive, is they get used in a lot of things. So the Abyssal Energy cores get used to making the Hadal cores, the Abyssal cores, Bethal cores, make the blocks of Cryococcus, which isn't really important for us now, but the solar panels matter, as well as the microminers matter. So yeah, lots of stuff on passive, lots of good progress. Some good building done as well. I'm really happy with this bridge. This bridge looks awesome. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we also did some extra terraforming here as well. The mixers used to be the old like where the this all used to be open air up until like around here or so. However, in order to make the bridge flow a little bit better into the side of the cliff, Cosmix did a bunch more terraforming here. She's really good at that stuff. I'm very glad she's good at it because I'm terrible. She basically extended the cliff out a little bit more so the bridge would flow a little bit better into it, and it looks fucking fantastic. It looks great. It looks great. I love this bridge. Eventually we want to do it for this bridge over here and that bridge over there, but that's gonna. I don't know if we're going to get around to that. We probably will at some point, just so the base is in a better state by the time we're done. But I don't know when that will be. Maybe we're waiting for some really long crafts later on. Alright, well, I've definitely rambled for long enough, and I don't know how I managed to pull such little content and such little work done into just short of an hour, 40 odd minutes. There's not really anything else has been done. I guess we do have the the Skulk biocharger. That was done. That used to be where the I can't believe I forgot about that. It's been quite a while since we've had this. The discharger got moved over here. This is where the old Skulk cores were being made. They were made super slowly, and I hated them. And we moved the Skulk biocharger over here because this is where it would have fit. And this was going to fit over here. So yeah. Also, all our assembly lines have been upgraded to, they've been overclocked to UIV for a low cost of 33 million EU a tick. So they're they take a lot of power to run, but we can afford that power. I do need to come over here and start upgrading some of these old on-demand systems, though they're kind of especially like the lathe and the bender have kind of fallen out of favor, just because we have most plates and rods on passive that we use lots of. All right, guys. Well, that's more or less it for so far. I think for this week, not too much else has gone on. It's been I know we're getting close to the end. I still don't know how much longer we're gonna be playing for. I imagine we'll probably be done around the 20th log or so, I think, at this rate. We don't have, we've got enough. So we've got a lot of stuff to do, but the end is in sight. Lots of good stuff, lots of things on passive. Moving towards the higher tier miners and stuff. All right, guys. Well, that's it from me. I hope you guys have had a good week. Mine's been, it's been a week, right? I hope you guys have had a good week. And I hope you guys have a good upcoming week. And I will see you all again next week.